Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Warrior 2! In the last part, we started off the game, got you to Spring of Bravery, and now we're going to continue on. Now, the Spring of Bravery is a rather short area. In fact, you only really need to come here for information, really. Doesn't stop there from being new enemies, though, though some of the enemies in here are repeats. And a lot of the chests here are medical herbs, actually, which, mind you, I won't need many of. There is one particular area, probably next part, that I'm going to need a couple for, but that's about it. Well, obviously, and the fact they recover HP. Anyway, first new enemy of the part is a big cobra. 14 HP. And they can poison you, so watch out for that. They have a drop. What was it? Antidote herbs, that's it. They can drop antidote herbs. And also, you're gonna notice these little screen transitions right there. As you notice, I got into a battle right as one ended. This isn't even a superstition, this is hard-coded into the game, but when you're in a room transition like that, you have a high chance of getting or higher chance at least, of getting into a random battle, because, you know, you don't know what's around the corner and such. I like it, but at the same time I don't. Also, that room down there that I didn't go into is pretty pointless. All there is a guy in there you can talk to. And you don't need to talk to him, either. And in here we got a thing, which is a medical herb. And guess what's back from last time? Limited inventories, yay. I will say medical herbs do lose some amount of use after this, after a certain point early in the game due to reasons. Anyway, here's the Spring of Bravery. One little interesting tidbit you can do is that if you say no to this guy, he'll actually give you a full heal. I mean, you can actually grind around here if you want to. I obviously don't, though, because I'm already kind of grinded up. Anyway, the Prince of Cannock, he said, was here moments ago, and apparently he was heading for Meadenhall, which you can head to directly from the south because reasons. Well, actually, just because there's a path you can take there. There's a swamp in the way, just look out for that, but overall, yeah. And we are talking to the king for a reason, because he was here, and the Prince of Cannock is in Meadenhall. Yeah, the king says Meadenhall, but that's actually a typo. It's I think he's supposed to say he was heading for Cannock or Moonbrook. But where we need to head is actually Leftwind, because he is well, he's on the way there, because if we move faster than everyone else, in fact, there he is on the very right. What's up, dude? And with that, we got our first new party member of the series. Cannock! Well, for me he's called New-mor, but the Prince of Cannock is interesting. He's not really good for combat as he is for magic. His attack stat, I believe, is always lower than that of the main character. And however, he also has, like I said, our first magic spells of the game. He starts off with mostly support spells, because from the start he has the heal spell, which pretty much is a medical herb. And later on, he will get spells like Antidote, which acts as an antidote herb, making those essentially useless after this point, really. Another thing he can do later on is actually mute the enemies, to use a Final Fantasy term, but we won't get into that until actually later in the part. But the thing is, he starts at level 1, so I actually have to do some grinding. When you're grinding with the Prince of Cannock, I recommend using the parry command, which, as I think I mentioned last part, is essentially the defend command, which cuts all damage by half. In this game, it's surprisingly useful. I recommend grinding the Prince of New-mor up to level 3 with the enemies around here. It probably shouldn't take that long. But it is overall useful to do so. And also, just for progress' sake, I cut back to Manila Castle because we want to head south a bit now. You don't have to do this, because this guy's pretty much going to tell you the next thing you should do, though. So if you know the way around, you probably can do it anyway yourself. I'm just showing it off for why the hell not sake. And an old guy. And he's pretty much described what I described last part about gold and silver keys to match the doors. And he tells us that the silver key is in the Cave of the Lake, west of Cannock, which is actually our next big destination. So, with that, time to head back to Cannock. However, all along the way, I purchased a chain sickle at Leftwine for my main character. And we got a new enemy here, Ghost Mouse. 12 HP, has a chance of dropping the clothes, and that's pretty much it. They're actually one of the more powerful enemies around at this region, so I recommend using them for grinding if you can. Though the babbles are also pretty good for that. Look at that high encounter rate. You know, I can't tell which has the higher encounter rate, this or Final Fantasy 2. Anyway, new enemy is the Magician. 15 HP, can drop the Bamboo Stick, which has some uses, I believe, and they can also cast Fireball, so watch out for that. That's pretty much the Hurt spell from the last game. Fairly lethal. Army Ants. Army Ants, 12 HP, and can drop a Medical Herb, by the way. They are the first enemies in the series that have the ability to call for new enemies to come into the battle. I think at most you can have 5 of them on screen, which makes them actually potentially very good for grinding, but I don't do that for some reason. Why didn't I do that? Oh dear. And there's the Cave of the Lake right there. However, I'm kind of ill-equipped as it is, so time for another grind fest. However, this time I'm grinding for gold. Any levels that I get along the way, well, alrighty. Pretty much I want to buy 2 chainmails, a chain sickle, and still have 400 gold left over back in Leftwine, which I've already done at this point. And in doing so, I got quite the level boosts. And what I'm actually showing off right now is the church guy that I mentioned last part. He's the House of Healing. Pretty much he's your way of healing a lot of status ailments. Detoxicate cures poison for more than antidote herb. Uncurse, I forget what that does. And Revival brings I forget, they call it knocked out or killed enemy ally back to life. Though mind you, if you're playing the game right, you probably shouldn't be dying to begin with. And this is just my equipment right now. I honestly could have just gone to the item menu and showed it off there, but eh. And now we're gonna head back, because I figured that part was gonna be short anyway, might as well show this again. But along the way, we got a new enemy. A healer, 25 HP, can drop a lottery ticket, actually. I'll get into what those are later in the part. And they can also heal themselves and anyone that's in the battle with them, though I only ever encounter healers by themselves, so it's pretty useless. They give a good amount of experience points, though. I think the most for any one individual enemy around here. No, I don't think I mentioned it in the last part, but I love this overworld theme. Not as much as I like Dragon Warrior 1's, though. And time for another very short grind fest. I just want to get my main character up to level 11, because I like to be as high a level as I really can be without ridiculous grinding. Though mind you, all the grinding in this part took me around an hour total. Hour and a half at most. With the fast forward feature of the emulator on, though. So, maybe twice as long. And then again, it all depends on which battles you encounter. So, yeah. Whenever you find a treasure chest that has gold in it, it's actually a random amount that you get from it. It's usually a fairly low amount, or at least low for the point of the game you're at, I believe. Each one has a range, essentially. It's kind of like Dragon Quest 1, and I think this game as well, where enemies technically have a range of HP. Anyway, next to enemy is a big rat. 16 HP, and have a chance of dropping a new item. Which is the... I think I can get one here, actually. Or one in the battle off-screen, which is the Wing of the Wyvern. Or Wing of Wyvern. You might remember the Wyvern enemies from the last game. What that does, it's essentially the return spell from the first game, actually. Where... Oh, but first up, another new enemy, Magic Ant. 14 HP, can drop a lottery ticket. They can use fire, I believe. Stop spell's pretty good against them if you have that for your Prince of Cannock at this point. Anyway, back to what I was saying before I was interrupted by that battle. The Wyvern's Wing is essentially the return spell from the previous game. It warps you back to the castle. However, in this game, it warps you back to the place you last saved, so that's pretty good, because kings are not your only way of saving in this game. There are a couple of scattered NPCs we'll meet throughout the game that allows us to save. I forget if you get return in this game or not, but if you do, Wing of Wyverns pretty much lose use. But early game, they can be useful. I pretty much sell any I get at this point, though, because gold is valuable. In fact, I think I get a Wing of Wyvern in this next room. Yes, I do, because I remember this pathway. And there it is. And I think it also allows you to escape dungeons, so it can be used as a shortcut. I wouldn't recommend it because I like experience points and gold over skipping things. But I think speedrunners actually really can take good advantage of that because, well, you can skip a good amount of area. And in this chest, we get the reason we came here. The silver key. We can now open silver doors, and that's actually an item in our inventory, so we're gonna need to keep that in mind when it comes to organizing our inventory. Yay. And I was going to cut out immediately, but then I encountered the last enemy for this area, the centipod. 21 HP, can drop the leather armor, which can be sold for a good amount of money at this point, actually. I think 140-something gil. Or gil. Gold. They have high defense, so watch out for that, though, at this point, one strike from my main character or one fireball spell will take them out. Come on, talk to him. There we go. And we're actually here to talk to this guy because I want to get a magic knife for later. But you'll find out why, probably next part, actually. But anyway, there's a door right here. I'm going to use my silver key on that to open it. I don't like the fact how it defaulted going into my Prince of Cannock's inventory because my inventory was full at that point. I should probably trade that. And in here, we actually got the lottery. I'm not going to show it off probably much throughout the game, if ever. But essentially, if you get a lottery ticket from either buying an item at a shop or from an enemy that drops it, you can use them there as currency. And you can pretty much play some slot reels. You can get some pretty good items out of it, actually. I think the Wizard's Ring is one of them, which is MP restoration as you walk. Really good, actually. So if you want to try it, go right ahead. I honestly don't like to do slot reels in any game ever, aside from maybe Pokemon Crystal, because I love the Game Corner theme in that one. Anyway, now that we've done all that, we can progress on, because we want to head into this monolith I was actually at last part. Because now we can actually head down into it. That path to the left there leads to a fake exit, so don't go that way, just head completely south. And now we're over there. That cave to the left is where the fake exit would have been. To get to the next destination, which is the town of Hamlin, by the way, follow these mountains on the left because getting in the mountains increases your encounter rate, which around here isn't that good of an idea. But with that, I'm going to need to end this part off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2, we'll be continuing into the town of Hamlin to see what we can find in there. See you guys then.